Smart Money Culture TV Network, live in Texas and Louisiana. This is Impact Money, where we talk money in the morning. We're looking at the stocks, the crypto markets, and we're talking liquidity across the world and world events that are happening right now. And we have our best guy, Bruce Porter Jr., and I'm his brother, David Porter. We've been around the world doing crypto networking for the last 10 years. Bruce has been doing it maybe longer. And we also have Matt Dixon coming up soon with the Market Watch, which is using an AI platform, amazing research platform that gives you the best news on what's happening in the markets. So how are you, Bruce?
I'm doing fantastic. Good morning, David. Always a pleasure to be here on Impact Money. Thanks for joining us live in Texas and Louisiana on your TV. It is a real pleasure to be there on the Smart Money Culture Network. We will have our good friend Matt Dixon join us as well right after the very soon. A lot going on in the world as it always is. These days, the markets are responding well, I would say. The Asian markets anyway. The Asian markets and the crypto markets are doing pretty well. With this influx of money. We had some quantitative easing there in China, it looks like, and that's playing out pretty well. Of course, we have everything else that's going on. Of course, you guys there in Texas know the border is crazy right now, and you know these protests are really going on around the world. The farmers over in Europe have, I think, the EU, from what I understand, has now buckled, and their deal that they had passed, their Green Deal, is being, I think it's going to be terminated. I think that they were able to stop them. Now, whether that's going to stop the protest, I don't know. We'll see. There's still a lot of mess over there. Like Texas and like the U.S., we have there's a situation in Europe where the people are already there. That was one of the things that Elon Musk shared on his X account last night. Of course, you had Biden, his new thing that he's going with is that it's Trump's fault that the border is open, which is really kind of funny. I mean, I don't know if
that is the funniest thing of the week.
Well, it's funny, right? Because I don't know, I mean, I don't even know if they really think. Well, first of all, I don't know how much he thinks, but I don't know if they think that anybody is really going to believe that, or if it's just kind of they're just saying it. It's kind of like someone told me a long time ago that words kind of have a spell, and so if you say the words and you say them over and over again, you kind of cast a spell, and so they're going to say it over and over again. And actually, even if you watch the video, it kind of gives you that feeling. Here, I'll play this little thing that someone put together here.
Border is secure.
The only reason the border is not secure is Donald Trump.
Not only is it hilarious,
the border is secure.
The border is secure.
The only reason the border is not secure is Donald Trump.
It's so hilarious and it's completely contradictory to each other.
Well, of course it is. I mean, it's like, okay, guys, and then actually, so it's right on Elon's X account, so it'll be easy for me to pull up here. Elon, the great Elon Musk. I'll add this back on our screen here.
It's like you need them to define secure.
He says, let's see here. Okay. He's really funny that we have Elon now, in the mix. Because he's really posting a lot of stuff. So Trump came in 2016 and he told us all this stuff. Yeah, here we go. So this is basically the same.
Every day between now and November, the American people are going to know The only reason the border is not secure is Donald Trump and his MAGA Republican friends.
I don't know if you guys can hear that very well. It's a low video. He says,
every day between now and November, the American people are going to know.
every day between now and November, the
Every day
American
between now
people
and
are going to
November, the
know.
American people are going to know. The only reason the border is not secure is Donald Trump and his MAGA Republican friends.
The only reason the border is not secure is Donald Trump and his MAGA Republican friends.
He doesn't even have any MAGA Republican friends. He just has people that actually like him.
I know, right? I mean, a lot of people don't even like him, but they like vote for him and whatnot because the other side is so crazy. And then he just puts illegal border encounters in 2020. There's 400,000. 2021, of course, Biden is in 2021, 1.735, and these are the ones that registered. These aren't the ones that like didn't register. You know what I mean? 2022 is 2.379. 2023 2.476 is a million, and it's actually way higher than that. Estimates are really that it's more like 15 million or so that have come in since the Biden administration came into office. But you know, just the fact that you have Elon here, he says you are being gaslit. 30 million views, 64,000 reposts to his 171 million followers. I mean, just for anybody to even just Washington Post here. And I used to call it the Washington Compost, but they did feature my wife and I when we got engaged. So I don't want to talk too bad about him. Front page of the sports section. 20 million followers, though. Just to give you guys an idea of how big he is. New York Times, I don't know. I might have them. They had a bunch of different. Anyway, you get the idea. I mean, it's a lot. 171 million is a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's basically, yeah. I mean, I don't know who's watching those. TV is TV. I mean, people still have their TVs on. I don't know how many of them are watching these talking heads on the different channels. You know, or believing them. At least, you know, people are now looking into different avenues. You know, they're checking. Even look at us. How much of our reporting on our show is on our X accounts. Make sure you follow David Porter. He's at David Porter on X. I'm at Networks Manager with an S, Networks. And of course, we'll have MD Trade on here in a few minutes. And he is MD Trade, Matt Dixon. Run over some of the numbers here, what we're looking at. I will normally put these up on my X account before we do the show. Oh, this was funny. So Joe Rogan reportedly has been holding. He bought 5.24 Bitcoin back in 2014. I said, because I know I've been in that long, he paid under $3,000 for them, more than likely, and they're now worth about $225,000.
Yeah, nice one, Joe.
Nice one, Joe. But that tells you how much money he had back in 2014. Not much. He was like, all right, I'll throw $3,000 at this.
He probably feels like a genius.
He is a genius. And everyone, I love it. People are like, oh, it's a scam. Shit, man, scam. All right. You turned $3,000 into $225,000. All right, sure. I said, do you own Bitcoin? Get real Bitcoin, not the paper Bitcoin ETFs, okay? Get real Bitcoin, get it on KuCoin, get it at cost. Follow this URL at costbitcoin.club. That forwards you to our referral link on there. I'm going to talk more about the markets here, but let me pick up right here. Tucker Carlson talking about Moscow. Moscow is a wonderful city. I've been there multiple times. It is a beautiful place, and everybody should go. Here's Tucker.
What do you think about Russia?
Oh, I've really enjoyed it. I think this city. I've never been here before. I think this city is really pretty. This is the only place I've been in Russia. I want to go to Siberia. I want to Lake Baikal. I want to go to St. Petersburg. I can't. I'm hardly an expert. I mean, culture is a complicated thing. I don't speak the language, so I know very limited amounts about the culture other than what I've read and experienced the past week. But I think this is a beautiful city. I can say that, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but it's just true. And again, I'm 54. I've never been here before, so I had no idea what to expect, and I expected something very different. And I think the city is just amazing. I'm amazed by the amount of 19th century architecture you have.
And I asked you about your interview with Putin.
With who?
With Putin.
I've heard the name, but
With our president Putin.
yeah, it sounds familiar, but I don't. Can't say his name. Thank you. You walked me into a corner.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
He's funny. He's a jokester.
Again, why do I feel guilty like I'm betraying my country for saying that? I'm not. I love America. It's familiar, but I don't. Can't say his name. Thank you. You walked me into a corner.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. I really do like it. I'm not just saying that. And again, why do I feel guilty like I'm betraying my country for saying that? I'm not. I love America. This is a really nice city, and I don't care. It's true. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good old Tucker Carlson there. Doing the deal over there. It is something else. I tell you, when you head over to Russia, it is a definitely different country. What one of the things that struck me about when I went over there, and I'll go back to my screen in a second, was how much that they didn't talk about us, because we were over here in the U.S. and we were always talking Russia, 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 Russian people, Russia. And they got over there, people were not talking about us. They were engrossed in their own lives and working and watching their state media. And the state media was telling them how great they were. They were great. It was great. They had a great president. They were great people.
Well, it really is the other side of the world. And one thing about being outside the U.S. is you don't have to hear so much about the politics coming out of there. They are very extreme. I mean, it is a brutal climate of politics in the U.S.
It is brutal, right? I mean, it is absolutely.
I mean, they
brutal.
dig up everything, and also the internet. You know, they say the internet always wins. Like,
is that what they say? The internet always wins.
Dude,
we're going to commercial here in a second on smart money culture. So I just want to let our viewers there know that we just actually went on commercial. So yeah, we'll be back on there, and then we'll bring Matt on as well at that point. But yeah, pretty crazy. We are crazy, and a lot of it really has to do. I know we talk about it all the time. Is with the central bank takeover of everything. It's a couple of different attacks over the last days, and I think this is pretty.
Классы фляйки, Джаматульна Ислам, подавтавали дома Кавасу.
I mean, who knows? But I hate to say it, man. But to me, it looks like smells like the CIA and the Mossad, and that's what I said there. Do you think it is the CIA and the Mossad? That's how they roll.
Seems like it could be, and they just really need to catch a break. You know, if they could have a decade without some type of war going on, I'm sure their people would be much happier.
Well, that's true. That's for sure. Gold is down about 0.1%. Really kind of holding those gains at $22,049.20. Do you own gold? Buy gold, silver, palladium, platinum at the dealer cost. Join the club at costmetals.club. That forwards, of course, to our referral link. Silver down about 0.75%. Again, you get it at the dealer cost. Bitcoin up about 0.5%, trading at $43,000. You can get Bitcoin at cost. Follow the link at costbitcoin.club. You see the thing here. So we have at costmetals.club, at costbitcoin.club. And that just forwards you over to our referral link there. Ethereum's looking nice, up 1.5% as rumors swirl of upcoming ETF approval.
Yeah,
Asian
it's
markets
been a great day in the
are
market.
holding their gains. What's that?
It's been a great day in the markets.
Yeah, I mean, it has been it's a good day in the markets. We closed up yesterday. Here, I'll share this tab. Now, Dow futures are down slightly, but this is very, very slightly. And if I go over here, the Dow is down for a large part of the day yesterday, but it ended up closing up about 141 points, about 1/3%, a little over 1/3%. So we'll see. I mean, all that money that got printed up over in China, obviously, as that makes its way into the Asian stocks and crypto and oil and everything else, I think we will fill it. It might take a day. So we'll see what Matt has to say, but we could be in for a good day for stocks. As I said, though, I do believe that they will try to crash the market if we are not going to land, if we're not going to approve this $118 billion deal. And I don't think, I mean, from what it looks like right now, it's not going to happen. A lot of other stuff happening as well. Rona is out. Rona McDaniel is resigning. She's hoping that she will have time to pick a successor that will cover her tracks.
Cover her tracks.
Yes, I said it. Now, I feel like Mike Lindell is really the only choice that we have. I love some of the other people that are involved, but I think Mike Lindell is the only one that can really, he has a plan to stop the magic electron voting machines. And I think he's got the guts to do it. So Mike Lindell for RNC chair. I don't know if that'll happen. Of course, there's a lot of push for one of my other friends who is a really great guy. What was I going to put here, Bill?
Seems like such a common sense thing to not use magic voting machines.
I mean, don't use the magic voting machines. Like, how hard? I mean, like, it's like common sense. Like, how in the world? I mean, we're in tech. So, like, of course, guys, of course. Don't use the magic voting machines. All right, we're about to come off commercials here in Texas. Let me just play this, and then we'll bring in our good friend here, Matt Dixon. All right, mute. Okay, this is what.
Senator Ted Cruz had a press conference around noon today, said that you shouldn't have even tried to negotiate with Democrats, said this bill was designed to fail, and that it's time for you to step down as GOP leader. What's your response to that?
I think we can all agree that Senator Cruz is not a fan.
The president came out and he pointedly put the blame on Donald Trump. He said it is Donald Trump is to blame for the failure of this bill. Was Trump's opposition too much for you to overcome?
Well, I've said repeatedly every month, I'm not going to get into comments about the race for the presidency among Republicans. I think in the end, even though the product was approved by the Border Council that endorsed President Trump, most of our members feel that we're not going to be able to make a law here. And if we're not going to be able to make a law, they're reluctant to go forward.
They're reluctant. I mean, there you go. It's dead on arrival at the moment. Sir, yeah. Let's bring on Sir Matt. Welcome, Matt Dixon. How are you, sir?
Hi, a little bit better, thank you. Good to be here. I'm dosed up.
You are looking better.
Yeah, I'm on the natural stuff, ginger and some kind of green tea or something.
That's so funny. I was just reading as I was kind of going through my X account that King Charles in Britain is going to use natural. He's going to try to heal his prostate cancer with natural remedies.
Yeah, I'm sure they won't let him just do that. He's going to have the best of medical care. Maybe take some natural stuff as well, but he won't be left to just rely on.
I'll tell you what. I don't know if you took any of that ivermectin over the years with COVID, but I took it quite a bit. That stuff works. That, you know, if I start to feel bad, you take some ivermectin, and it really kicks it pretty fast. And then I guess I won't say exactly who it is, but someone close to me as well has gone through some tumors and cancer, and you know, he's doing the normal care as well. Okay, but he started getting better once he started taking the ivermectin. Now, of course, it's anecdotal, right? It's anecdotal because, you know, he's doing the other stuff as well. But ivermectin works.
Yeah, I'm sure there's lots of things. I know there's lots of natural things that really do work, but yeah, who knows? Anyway, you mentioned about Ethereum. Ethereum's obviously in the news because upcoming ETF in possibly in May, but actually more imminent is the upgrade that's coming called the basically it's the Dencon upgrade. So this is a major upgrade. It's to both the consensus layer and the execution layer. It's going to make it more scalable, which is really important because it's not really fully scalable yet. You know, the transactions per second, etc. It's so this will make it more scalable, more efficient. You know, lots of improvements, even more secure. So this is a major upgrade, which is due to roll out any time now, and should really be a big boost to Ethereum. So a lot of people already use Ethereum smart contracts. Obviously, they've got competition biting at the heels with the likes of Solana and many of the other, you know, up-and-coming cryptos out there. But this upgrade should really be a bit of a game changer for Ethereum. So potentially, it's really positive. But
nice. Well, that's a good update. I mean, the last update took them a long time to release. Do they have a date on this one?
I mean, it's due for release anytime now. I think they did. It's been out on testnet, and I think there's some little issues, but that was soon fixed. So obviously that's what testnet is for, and I understand that's actually why we got a dip in the Ethereum price because it's launched on testnet. It had a glitch. The Ethereum price went down a bit, but it shouldn't do really because it's testnet. Testnet is there to test it. The fact that it had a glitch, that's what it's there for, and they fixed it, and it will go live anytime now. So that should be quite positive for Ethereum compared with, I mean, Ethereum's been lagging, hasn't it? So
it really has. I thought it would, but that's, you know, of course, it's like I always say, everybody wants to, you know, pump my bags, you know, everybody wants the quick payoff. And sometimes they take your money for a while and they use it, and then they pump your bags. And that's the way it works.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. You're talking about, you know, everyone talking about pumping the bags and stuff. I'm just going to share my screen because I'm going to run through some stuff today, which is a bit counter to what a lot of people are currently thinking. So I'm going to go straight to, hopefully you'll be able to see this.
Here, let me just add it to the stage here. There you go. Now we can.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually, as you know, I've been trading since the early 1980s, so just about 40 years now. So I've traded through the market crashes. The first one that I really knew about, I mean, I told you yesterday, I lived through the oil crisis in the early 70s, but the first crash I really traded and actually got battered was the 1987 crash. I was heavily long the market. I was making a lot of money before 87 because the market was really booming. All-time highs at the time, and I was making money hand over fist. People, even my bank manager was asking me, how do you do it? How are you making so much money? But I got absolutely battered when the crash came. And as we saw yesterday, 22% fall overnight. And I was leveraged at the time, and I got absolutely wiped out. So I wasn't ready for that. I just used to go with the market, you know, what everyone was saying. Everyone was saying the market's going up, and that's how I used to trade. So I learned a big lesson from that, and trading is all about learning lessons. You don't become a trader from day one. You can't really learn just at school how to be a trader. I think a lot of it has to be experience, because experience are those life lessons that you never, ever forget.
Yep.
And so I've got that experience now, blazoned into my mind about the 87 crash and getting wiped out there, I had to go back to do an ordinary job to pay back the debt. Because I was leveraged, I actually ended up owing more than I'd invested.
I've been there before.
I worked my way back. So I worked my way back and then carried on trading. And next major crash, major one, there were lots of other bits and pieces and little setbacks, but the next major crash was the dot-com boom and bust. And I didn't lose anything there. And actually, a lot of people did lose a lot of money because they were heavily leveraged in the market. So I was actually advising people, and I used to advise banks at the time, and I was advising them not to invest in the dot-com stocks because they were a bubble waiting to burst. Some listened, some didn't, but I actually got it in writing that I'd advised them against it. And I said, I'll execute the deal, but you need to actually sign this disclaimer that I've already told you I wouldn't recommend it. So when they lost money, they had nowhere to turn but themselves. So that was one where I didn't lose any money, but I didn't make any money. But then we came to the next major crash was the 2007, 8, 9 financial crash. And I actually made a lot of money there. I was waiting for that crash to come. And I shorted the market, well, using currencies actually. I shorted Australian against the yen and made a lot of money during that crash.
Wow.
I actually did a talk in the Middle East 1 month before the crash really started. And I told them all about what was about to happen. I said within 1 month, it actually happened 3 weeks after my talk. So did really well there. But the reason I'm telling you all this is because I hear a lot of people right now almost say, I'm stupid to say the market could correct, Bitcoin could fall or anything of that sort. And when everyone starts telling you you're stupid, it starts to make me think, maybe I'm onto something here. Maybe I'm right. Because, you know, as I said back in 1929, when the shoeshine boy starts giving you advice on which stocks to buy, then that's the time to get out. And right now, I mean, there's a crypto event here in Dubai last night, and all the talk was about how everything's going to the moon. Bitcoin's going to rocket, everything's going to rocket, and it might do. So what I've learned over the years is do not position yourself 100% one way or the other way. You have to use risk reward, unless you're just a long-term hodler or you're building a good portfolio, a diversified portfolio, that's fine. But if you're trying to trade, actively trade, then don't ever be caught one side of the market completely. Use risk reward, use your stop losses, and be prepared to take a loss, because that's what trading's about. You make losses, you make gains, but your gains need to be bigger. So I was taking a look after yesterday's, I went through the long-term stock market I showed some charts of a guy. I'm going to show some of his updated charts today. But I just took a look at Bitcoin long-term on my own chart and just tried to get a feel of where the market was. And this is right from the beginning, really. You know, when price was almost zero. And we got the wave 1 up, a strong move up there. And then we got a wave 2 down. And then we got a big wave 3 up in blue, which itself is made up in red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then another wave 3. Then we got a nice wave 4 down and a wave 5 up. That's a completed cycle, 5 waves up to the upside. And now we're looking potentially at a move to the downside. Now, whether that move is complete or not, nobody can actually say, but there were some signals that I used along the way. And I've used this with other cryptos in particular that I've traded. For example, One Harmony, there was a warning sign flashing red, this particular signal on One Harmony that told me when it's around 40 cents that the market was at a peak, it was about to drop. So what I've drawn here, the blue line is from peak to peak, and we touched on this yesterday. This is called divergence. It's basically a divergence indicator between price and RSI, which is an oscillator. So the price peaks are going up, and the RSI peaks, the corresponding RSI peaks, are going down. That's giving you what's called bearish divergence, regular bearish divergence. So with this move up here, it's telling you the market was about to come down, and it came down massively from around the 60,000 mark to around the 40,000 mark. So about a 30% fall. About a 30% fall we had there. That was following that indicator there. So the next time we had an indication of bearish divergence was at the all-time high, very close to the all-time high. The actual indicator was in at 64, 65, probably 65,000. As we know, the market topped at about 68, 69,000. But the indicator came in at about the 64, well, probably 65,000 mark, where we got higher highs on the price peaks and corresponding lower highs on the RSI peaks. And incidentally, we actually came from overbought on the RSI. So this was a warning sign flashing red that the market was about to take a dump. And that's precisely what happened. You can see how sharply it fell from 69,000 down to 15,000. So it fell, what, 75%? More than that, nearly 80%, something like that. So massive fall. But that was signaled. That was actually signaled here with this divergence indicator. So again, the warning sign was flashing. And now we have a long-term indicator here. This is a different one. I've got this one in red up here. This is called hidden bearish divergence. So this was bearish divergence telling you to turn down. This one is hidden bearish. And what this one tells you is that the market is likely to continue this downward trend. So although we've been moving up here, from the peak, we've actually been still moving down overall. So this indicator is telling you of continuation of the downward trend, because we're seeing lower highs on the price and we're seeing higher highs on the RSI. And once again, we're seeing RSI in overbought territory, telling you that basically the price is overbought and we're likely to decline in price. So that was that indicator. And then finally, there's a small one here you can see. This is you need to look at it on a shorter term chart probably, because it's not drawn in quite correctly here. But basically on a shorter time frame, if you were to look on the daily, you will actually see that there is some regular bearish divergence in place.
Right, with the higher high and the lower high RSI.
Correct, yeah. So that's telling me there's some warning signs. And the other really interesting thing is that following the move up, we've had what is called a triangle, which is an ABCDE formation here. That's a triangle. Triangles cannot form in wave 2 position. So some people are trying to tell us we've had wave 1, wave 2, and we're working on a wave 3 to the upside, which is going to take us to new all-time highs, etc., etc. But if this is labeled correctly as a triangle, it cannot be wave 2. It's not possible. So it would have to be basically a wave B. So that would mean it's A, B, C, which is a completed correction higher, meaning that the next major move is to the downside. So I'm not telling you this as absolutely nailed on. I'm just saying there are other options in the market that we need to be aware of, because if you're one side of the market, you'll end up losing long term. Let's get back to this guy. I mentioned him yesterday, Sid Norris. He's been in the market even longer than I have. Not as long as this chart.
Impossible.
Not as long as this chart. This chart started 1896 when the Dow Jones started. This is his updated chart. And again, you can see all the market crashes, the market booms, the market crashes, etc., etc., with precise Fibonacci extensions and so on. Here was a dot-com boom and bust at 2000. Back to here, got a major setback. And then from that, we've had a final move up in 5 waves, which here is made up of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, I mentioned yesterday I didn't like his counting. He's actually revised it, which is really nice to see.
Oh, wow. He was probably watching.
Hopefully, yeah. So this is now much more correct looking, because the wave 3 is an extension of wave 1, a big extension of wave 1, which is what you normally expect. And then a wave 4, different form than wave 2. And then wave 5 looking like it's probably some kind of ending diagonal. So ending diagonals, it's going to be choppy, it's going to be difficult and hard to identify where the top of the market is. But we'll look in more detail. But what is interesting is, again, he's putting the top of the market, and this is the Dow, around the 41, 43,000 mark. Well, we're not far off that. We could achieve that reasonably quickly, very quickly. So potentially any time around now, it's really difficult to identify precise points. And he's given a range there, but we're chopping around a real long-term high point in the market, and then a major correction is expected. That's probably when recession hits in the market, which I believe it will do. So just to look at this over a shorter term, this is looking at that final move up, the wave 5 we talked about. So here was the setback in the 2007, 2009 financial crisis down here, made up of 3 waves, in fact, but that set us back down here. And then moving up in 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're working on the final 5th wave of the 5th wave, but it's going to be choppy, as we can see. So that's why it's difficult, because this final bit, top of the market, it's going to be choppy. It's going to be deceptive because people aren't going to be able to see it that easily. Everyone's still talking about market going higher and higher, but that's what divergence was telling us. Divergence is telling us that the professionals have already sold out of the market, so volume is low. The retailers are still pushing it up, thinking, yes, we've got ETFs, we've got this, that, and the other. We're going to be lowering interest rates soon in America. So they're still actually buying into the market, and they're driving price higher, but on very low volume, because it's just the retailers driving the market higher. But the professionals, the big volume, are not in the market right now. They actually cashed out, or they've already cashed out. So the big players are not really in the market. They're not pushing it now. We're going higher on low volume, which is a warning sign that the market is somewhere near a peak. So I won't take too much time on these because there's a lot of them, but this is just looking at the SPX, very, very similar wave count, the S&P 500. And it's telling you that that wave 4, working on a final wave 5, exactly the same as the Dow. And it's looking like an ending diagonal because the wave 1 is made up of an A, a B, and a C. That's telling you this is an ending diagonal in the making. Looks like a contracting ending diagonal. So each wave will get smaller and smaller, but it's choppy. So there's a lot. So it's really difficult to know exactly when the top is because it's going to be very, very choppy up and down as we reach the end of this wave. When we reach the end, you can see here the potential, talking about a wave 2 coming down to, a massive fall from where we potentially are now. I mean, if you look at the values there, looking at 3,000 from 5,000, that's a big, big fall in the market. Even if it's just this smaller fall in the market, you're still talking 30% fall in the market potentially. So I'm just saying to people, don't sell everything, but just be prepared that the market may not go the way everyone's expecting to rally into new massive all-time highs. We could be in for quite a serious correction. Here's again looking at more detail, but I won't focus on it. We can, if you want to focus later, we can do. But again, this was just quite interesting. Looking at the Fed, again, this was his work. I like his work. I like taking things from people to take out the nuggets from what they say, but I don't agree with what everyone says. I've got my own opinion, and I think any trader needs to have their own opinion, but still search around to get information and nuggets from everywhere else. So this one, he was basically saying that the Fed interest rate changes have no bearing on the market. And this chart would seem to support that because basically we saw the Fed raise the rate here, the market fell, which is what you'd expect. But then the Fed raised the rate here and the market rose. Then the Fed raised the rate here and the market rose. Then the Fed rate remained unchanged and the market fell, then rose, etc., etc. So what he's saying is that these Fed changes do not dictate where the market's going. But what he failed to say was it's not the actual rate change that matters, it's the expectation. So if everybody was already expecting a rate rise and it happens, then it's nothing negative because it's already priced in.
Yep.
So, that's just
that's a very good point because it's always price. They already everybody the people on the inside already know it's going to happen before it happens. Yeah,
exactly. So it's surprises that we're looking for. I just thought I'd touch on gold. This is his chart of gold because I know you guys are very keen on gold. And looking at this long-term chart, it looks to be very bullish longer term. So we're currently knocking around the 2,000 area, and their target by 2025, somewhere in 2025, is 3,000, 50% rise. So we're looking for a major rally in gold to come. But short term, it's actually got a further setback for gold. Not massive, but some kind of setback for gold. And that would probably correlate with maybe some further dollar strength initially. But when dollar starts to weaken, I think gold will, when they start to lower rates again, gold will probably rally. So gold will be a really good potential safe haven. So again, all about diversification, holding an efficient portfolio. Gold is part of that. So it makes absolute sense what has been said on this show so far, that gold should form a part of any well-diversified portfolio because it's not correlated directly with other assets. So that's really good.
Yep.
Here's Bitcoin. This is actually his chart on Bitcoin. It's actually agreeing with my kind of long-term view that potentially we're headed for some serious downside. But the next major move, if it were correct, if this chart is correct, he's saying that we've had 5 waves up to the top, which is what I said. Then he said we've had 5 waves down. And then basically he's got, again, the same 5 up, then ABC, which is in the form of a triangle, and then higher. So that's telling you this is corrective higher. So the next big move is to the downside. And he's got targeting the previous low, FTX low, as the initial move down. So 15,000. So that would be a 70% fall or somewhere around that sort of range.
Yeah.
So potentially we could be in for a rocky time. I'm just saying potentially because it's important to give 2 sides of the story. As I say, I'm just hearing too many people talking about Bitcoin going to the moon and everything going to the moon. And as we said, if everyone's saying it, you've got to think something else.
Well, that's exactly right. Because as well, we know, there's a lot of players out there who are, the money doesn't come out of nowhere. So, well, sometimes it does, I guess, but they want to take the money. And so you have people in positions to take that money. And if everybody is just long and going up, it's a lot easier to take the money.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, we know that the Fed are withdrawing money from the economy. They're shrinking the economy right now. M2 is, money supply is coming down right now. So money is going to come out of risk assets at some point soon. Yes, it could well reverse once they actually start to lower interest rates. Later this year, at some point, it will happen. We don't know quite when it's going to be. But at the moment, as they're withdrawing money from the economy, there's less money to spend. It means that prices are probably, asset prices, risk asset prices are probably going to go down. And here's just a shorter term view. Again, I won't go into too much detail there, but we can see that potentially, we are looking at the next major move down. And I think we're just going to keep this in the back of our minds as to where the markets are potentially going. So, I won't focus too much, just finish probably on my long-term chart here on Bitcoin. So this from that FTX low does honestly look to me like it's probably corrected because, again, we're getting quite a bit of overlap. This wave here is overlapping this wave here. So that is telling me this is probably a corrective ABC move higher. So we may well move a little bit higher short term, but I'm just saying I think we should be aware of potential downside. And just to be transparent, I actually closed my long Bitcoin position this morning and took profit on it. And if it goes higher, I don't care. I've taken some profit. That's all that matters to me. But just to be, again, transparent, this is what I see as the major risk in the market is to the downside. I don't see the risk to the upside so much right now because too many people are talking about it. So, in summary, that's where I'm sat with the market. There we are with yesterday's 1929 crash.
Well, it's always a great show. Yesterday was great as well. Talking about the history of Black Friday. I know they weren't always on Black Friday, but
no, as they say, the Black Days. There's Black Friday first of all. Then I think it was Black Tuesday, wasn't it, in 1929? So Black Friday was 1869. Black Friday was 1929. Then we had the next major crash after that was the 87 crash, which was, I think that was Black Monday, wasn't it? And then I think we had Black Wednesday when the UK fell out of the exchange rate mechanism. And we'll need to see what day this one happens on this time round if we get a major crash. But,
well, it is interesting. As I said, I think that the major players, a lot of the major players in the markets, they really don't want a Trump presidency. They don't want, the WEF, all these big money guys. They don't want to see what's happening with the protests across Europe as well. This does not go along with their agenda. And so to think that they're going to continue to pump the market, I think I don't think it's a very, very smart assumption. Now, it may continue to rise, but if it turns out that we're going to have these waves of political change coming on, I think it makes sense that the markets will correct.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. The one I showed you about divergence, showing you that the prices are actually going higher, but the volumes are going down. That is telling you that the big players have already taken the money out of the market, and the market's been pushed up by the retailers. And this news of the ETF, for example, just looking at Bitcoin, the ETF approval, and we've got the upcoming ETF approval probably for Ethereum. This is the kind of news that's still pushing retailers saying, yeah, the market's going to go to the moon, etc. And the retailers are still buying. But we can see on the volumes, we can see that the big players, a lot of big players, have pulled money out of the market. Yes,
like
some
Matt,
big players,
like Matt Dixon, the big players pulling their money out of the market.
Pulled all mine out of Bitcoin this morning. And what happened to Bitcoin price? Well,
It went down. Well, it's I was actually just about to share that as actually, because even while we're doing the show, it's like they're watching us.
They heard.
We do have quite a bit of viewership there, over 2 million reach in Texas and Louisiana, and then of course about a 2 million reach across our socials as well. So the show is getting out there. So yeah, just and I was just kind of looking at the volume. So if you look at the volume here, it is actually, and this is a 3-day chart, but you can see it's kind of moving down. Yeah, interesting. Well, there's a lot going on in the world. I mean, it's absolutely crazy what we have going on. I guess Blinken just landed, Secretary of State Blinken just landed in Israel. I guess they're going to try to negotiate some ceasefire. I guess it will be successful, but it's going to be temporary. I mean, it's going to be a few months. I mean, hopefully these things stick. I mean, that's always the deal, right? Because you get them to stop shooting each other, and then hopefully the wives and the kids and everything become more important to these guys than killing each other.
Yeah, I mean, Israel, they're desperate to get their own people, their own hostages back. But it seems that Benjamin Netanyahu is absolutely set on destroying Hamas. But the problem is, you never destroy Hamas. It can never happen, because the more you destroy them, the more they will, be homegrown.
It's like that's what I've been saying. It's like when we had our war on terror. Well, we never won the war on terror. Why? Because we're having a war. We're not having a war on somebody or some state. We're just having a war on an idea. A terror. What is terror? Well, terror is being terrified, I guess. So, but how do you win a war on that? And I was, just like the next guy. All right, let's get a Bush. And then bombing Iraq seemed a little weird, but all right, yeah, okay. And then it didn't take me long though. I'm like, oh, hold on a second here. But yeah, that's these ideologies, and then the thing is too, the guys, we're not always going to agree. It doesn't mean that we can't have prosperity. It doesn't mean that we can't have trade relations. It doesn't mean that we can't have diplomatic relations. We're not going to agree on a lot of things. We're different people, different. We've come up differently. So yeah, pretty crazy. But go ahead.
No, it's true. When we learn to disagree, we'll be in a much better place, because you've got to learn to disagree and still get on. And that's what life should be all about. We have to compromise, because no one person's always right.
Well, that's right. Even look at our business relationship, right? I mean, yeah, nothing is ever just peaches and roses or whatever, and you get along. So that's what it's all about. Well, Matt, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a real pleasure, and hopefully I'll be even healthier tomorrow with all this green tea and ginger.
You look fantastic, and you sound great too. So we'll look forward to it tomorrow. I've played this. I played the rerun in their second show yesterday. I think I'll do the same today. Stellar work, sir. Really appreciate it.
Great. Thanks, David. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome. Talk soon.
Cheers.
Sir David, I saw they're protesting in Ireland. Are you out there? Are you out there protesting as well?
Yeah, I'm tapping kegs and I'm throwing manure. No. Yeah, luckily I'm pretty far away from that scene, so I don't really care to get right in the middle of a protest, to be honest.
No, it's not a good idea, especially as a expat.
I don't have my farmer's pitchfork with me either.
Well, you need some manure, right?
Maybe I can produce some. Yeah.
Dude, you need some manure. I think you aren't you close to some manure out there in the countryside?
Yeah, it should be easy enough. There's the farming in Ireland is fantastic.
All right, here I'm going to share this. This is something here. They say that they're not going to censor the Tucker Putin interview, but it's going to be pretty strange. It's going to be pretty interesting because even as I am looking around for like different videos this morning, things seemed pretty censored. I got to be honest. So this is Ireland.
Our nation. Louder! Beautiful!
The workers' rights.
Our nation once again. And as I grew from boy to man, I spent it to that
Pretty interesting. The farmers,
that is a nicer scene. It doesn't look so so bad.
No, I mean that looked like fun. I figured you were probably there leading the way. I mean, no, I'm just kidding.
It's not like what I heard.
So this is a report from the local team from farmers. I mean, just the cost
è un punto simbolo siamo allineate, è un punto simbolo, faremo un giro qua. Sembra che qualcosa
I'm not sure that was Italian, but it sounded like Italian. I couldn't buy it honestly. Look at this. Here we go. This is huge. Dutch farmers are still protesting in the Netherlands. Government plan to seize 3,000 farms. To seize 3,000 farms. I mean, it was just unbelievable. I mean, what do they think? You know? And that's where we'll probably get over here, right? I mean, I hate to think that it's going to get to that point. I don't want it to get to that point. But that's the point that where, you know, everybody, and it really, guys, usually it's too late then. Okay, it's too late. I mean, they're in such a position where the government of the European Union is going to seize their farms. I mean, what are we talking about here? Like, you know what I mean? These are our brothers. These are our brothers and sisters in Europe. This is where we came from, guys. Most of us.
I do have a feeling that all of those farmers, that many farmers, they can't be wrong for what they want.
Oh, I agree 100%. Well, plus you and I know, I mean, the climate stuff is it's pretty hokey. I mean, whether you want to say it's all a hoax or not a hoax or whatever you want to say, it's hokey.
Yeah.
I mean,
imagine starting a business that's supposed to benefit and how much propaganda you need to create to convince people to give you a bunch of money.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we're business people just like the next guy. This is pretty. I'm going to end with this. This is interesting here. This is worth a watch, and then we'll close out with this. Here we are.
When I asked, well, just a moment, Alice, you've been speaking for most of the night. When I asked Tanya Plibersek,
we'll fact check that one for you.
Yes. When I asked Tanya Plibersek, was the deputy leader of the Labor Party and the potential deputy prime minister, was carbon dioxide the big issue in relation to climate change? And she said yes. I then said, well, that being the case, what percentage of the atmosphere is made up of carbon dioxide? And she said, I don't know. And I said, hang on, you don't know what percentage of the atmosphere is carbon dioxide, and yet you're prepared to stand the economy on its head to address a problem, the detail of which you don't know. So when I then explained that the percentage of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, Alice, is how much? Alice, how much of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere?
To answer the question, Scott Morrison has said he believes in climate change and that he wants to do something about it.
Alice, how much carbon dioxide is the problem? How much carbon dioxide is there in the atmosphere?
I'm not a scientist. I don't know.
Well, hang on. If you're going to argue the case, you ought to know it's 0.04%. And of that 0.04%, human beings around the world create 3%. And of that 3%, Australia creates 1.3%. So for the 1.3% of 3% of 0.04%, we then decide to have a national economic suicide rate.
Alan. Oh, there you have it, folks.
Right.
It's hokey. All right, we'll call it hokey. We're gonna call it hokey. All right. Love you guys. David, it's always a pleasure, brother. See you in a few hours. See you guys. Thanks for tuning in Texas, Louisiana. Thanks for tuning in around the world. See you soon.
Nice. We'll see you soon.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.